Hey everybody, welcome back to the Radio Gaming channel. I'm Wes, and this is going to be a little bit different. Are you okay with talking about parenting, raising kids? It's kind of one of the main focuses of the channel. Let's get started. A ton of things to do with our kids, and there's a ton of video games out there, and a bunch of things that we can all do all the time, and it's exhausting. I mean, dear God, they have so much energy and they just keep going. I swear I've read an article that said that they have more endurance than a marathon runner. I mean, we all sit there and we go to the playground and we go to the play dates and we go to the parks and we go play Legos, and there's just so many things and we do it and we're just tired. But do we always want to give them a cell phone? Do we always want to give them a mobile game or a PC game or a console game? And if we do, is there anything that we can do that's actually fun and educational and can bring them up to help them? Well, yeah, there's a ton of stuff out there. I mean, who remembers playing Oregon Trail? Awesome game. We went to computer lab. Oh, so much fun. We would leave the boring class and we'd go to the computer lab and we'd boot up these old Macs, and we thought they were the best thing in the world. Well, some of us had PCs, and we thought it was the best thing in the world, and we had this 8-bit side-scroller text box filled game called Oregon Trail, and we try and make it from the East Coast to Oregon, and we'd always die of dysentery or a rattlesnake bite or drown in a river, and it was just so much fun, and it was awesome. And we also had like typing games and stuff like that. And it helped us so much. Those of us that had access to that, because we became fluent in computers, we became fluent in navigating programs, we became much better typers, and it's really had compounding effects on making us better at jobs. And you know what? We're still on computers for trade skills. Like, it blows my freaking mind. Everybody is on a computer. You have to do accounting, you have to do booking, you have to advertise. Everything is on a computer these days, or a phone or something. So maybe we do want to teach our kids how to use all these different mediums. Well, video games can help. So let's break it down by like 5 basic categories. Is it appropriate for the audience age? What is the intent of playing the game? Is it education? Is it entertainment? Is it just give us a freaking break for 5 minutes so we can just rest our weary feet? Does the game aggressively push monetization? Are there parental controls? Platform? Game? Is it just me sitting there being the parental control? 5. Interaction. Some games, there's online communities. They're huge, they're massive, and you can have toxic personalities in there. So how do we distinguish which community we should be allowing our kids into? Let's see. Alright, for our first question, is it age appropriate? We have the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, which is a non-profit, like self-governing board that's out there. You go to the Walmart, Target, Best Buy, whatever, and you see this little white box with little black letters, and it has all these different things, and we just go, okay, that's cute. I don't know what that means. Well, actually, it's this group of people from within the industry and concerned parents and everything else, and they say, you know what, this is appropriate for everyone. So they put an E on it. It's really nice, makes sense. And then the next category up, they say, well, I mean, that has a little bit of mild fantasy violence. Let's not make that for the young kids. Maybe E10+. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe it's like Mario jumping on a mushroom's head. You know, fantasy violence, nothing too big, no, all right? And then we go to the next category, which is T. T is for teen, so 13+, and you can go up, and it has a little bit more fantasy violence. It might have a little tiny bit of blood, but nothing really. And then you have M. M is for mature. So mature games are exactly that. They're 17+. They have violence. They have darker adult themes. There's some like sexual stuff. I mean, there's when it has an M, it's not for kids. Like, let's just put it that way. And then there's adults only. So AO, like absolutely like hardline. This is kind of like NC-17 for the movies. You don't take the kids to it. It doesn't matter if you're old enough to take a kid into a rated R movie, you can't take them into an NC-17. If it's an adults only game, you don't want to take them into that game. Just not applicable. And then there's the last one, which is rate pending. So rate pending games, it's hey, my game, it's in development. Type away at it the last couple months. They review the product that ESRB does, and it becomes one of the other 5 categories. Awesome. That's the first question. Now, how does that apply to what we're doing? Well, I can look at this and say, My kid has not been exposed to very much violence. So I'm not going to give him very much fantasy violence. He's a young kid. I don't really want to expose him to that. I'm going to listen to the E is for everybody. So I'm looking at little games that are side scrollers that pick up coins, no violence. Kids get to play it. They feel great. When they're older, I might be looking at, you know, a teen game, maybe before they're 10, maybe. It just depends on how the kid is. So we really have to be cognizant of what we're doing and how we're parenting our kids. The biggest theme throughout this entire video is going to be how are we engaged as parents to ensure that it's the right thing for the kids. Alright, point number 2. What's the intent? Is it educational? Is it entertainment? Is it just to give us a break? That's kind of a loaded question. We have a ton of different things to do. We are busy people, and we're trying to do our best to make sure that our kids are doing the best thing possible. Everything that we do should have maybe a couple of things that we can get out of it. If we're trying to entertain our kids on a 5-hour flight across the country, or we're going on like a 4-hour car trip or something, they're just going to be sitting there and they're locked in a single position and they can't do much. We can play games, we can play I Spy, we can do a ton of different stuff, but let's be real and let's be honest, they're going to get bored. And they're only going to fall asleep for so long. Ta-da! Maybe give them a mobile game, maybe they can tap at it, they can have fun. We can also make them educational. So, I mean, there's a ton of different games out there where they have to learn puzzles, and I mean, some of us grew up with Tetris. Tetris is amazing. It's a very simple game, but you learn patterns, you learn shapes, you learn how things fit together. I mean, like, even these simple things are fantastic. Sometimes it's just entertainment, just pure entertainment. And we just need to have 5 minutes so that we can just relax. That was actually very calm and settling. We go from entertainment to educational to we just need a break. There are video games that will label themselves as educational, and they're designed to help with reading, with writing, with arithmetic, with logical thinking. So we just go through and I mean, you just look for these different platforms. Now, what I will say is, like, you will have mobile platform games that say they do one thing, and then you go in and you see an in-game store. And that's what we're talking about next. Monetization. You don't make a product for free, generally, in our market. It just doesn't happen. There has to be some type of compensation so that you can go through and make a profit. Not very many people are just generous and hand out their intellectual property for no gain. Some companies do it as a funnel. Disney might, for instance. They have PJ Masks on TV, and they have a PJ Masks little side scroller game on mobile, and it's free. There's no in-app purchases, no monetization. It's not really educational, it's just entertainment, and the kids can play it and they can have fun, and it takes them from one thing to the next to the next. They might want a PJ Masks toy, and that's kind of the intent of Disney, is to find a way to get your money, which, I mean, it's Disney. You go to Disneyland and you spend a ton of money, but it's still fun and the kids have a blast. Different topic. So for young kids, absolutely, we pay attention to monetization, making sure they don't have an in-game store where they can go through and purchase stuff. Really, what more concerns me are teenagers, and they start getting the allowance. They don't really understand the concept of money. I mean, when I was that young, I just thought, like, I got an allowance, I did some chores, I got some money, and I can just go buy whatever, and if I run out of money, then I can just ask my parents for some more. It doesn't work that way. Like, we work hard for that money. We don't necessarily just want to hand it over so they can buy something frivolous. I don't want to spend $800 on a video game. That's just not me. If my kid accidentally buys all that stuff, I'm going to be a little upset. Let's maybe use this as a way to teach financial responsibility, okay? A huge aspect of any video game, any platform, is parental control. Not gonna lie, biggest factor on this is our engagement as parents. I'm okay with that. It is our responsibility. I don't care if the game says it has the best parental controls ever established. I don't care if the platform says it. I don't care if they say that you can lock down the in-game monetization stores. It doesn't matter to me. The best way to ensure that the game does what you want, you are there, you're engaged, you make sure that the game doesn't do anything outside of your expectations. We all heard about the YouTube Kids scandal with the videos that were uploaded with really bad content in the middle. Most games have to go through some type of screener, especially ones that you buy in stores for PC or console, but once you get onto the mobile, you don't see your ratings on those games as much. It's a lot more of the Wild West. You have to be engaged. I hate to say it, but like there's no other substitute except for the parent. That is how parental control works. Some games will have really good in-game features where you can control blood, violence, gore, nudity, themes, language. So yes, you can look for those, absolutely, but it's our recommendation that you use the best thing that you have, which is yourself, to be the parental controls. Last but not least on this topic, we have the communities. So some of these mobile games are very much single player, right here in your hand. Nobody else can play with you. Figure out the puzzle. You can compete against your friend that sits next to you, but you're not going to talk to some random Joe Smith across the country or around the world. However, you will have games, especially as we get older, that start having online interactions. Some of the games that I play the most are predominantly online, but I don't let my kids play these because I don't want them introduced into an environment with people I don't know that could potentially be very toxic or want to cause harm. You know, sometimes there's teenagers or young adults that just think that they're being funny trolls and instead are extremely harmful and are conducting cyberbullying, and they don't realize the negative effects that this has on others. I mean, World of Warcraft, great game. It's been around for almost 15 years. The community can either be very, very good and uplifting, or it can be very, very toxic and derogatory. So with those, really steering clear of those for young kids. Maybe around 14 or 15 is our recommendation, but really that's going to be on the specific kid and the specific parents and what the situation is with interaction and social behaviors. So very closely monitoring who's allowed to talk to who on these games, how they're allowed to interact, and if we can lock down those interactions, means a lot to us here at Rare Gaming. Maybe single players, maybe very limited interaction with people on the internet, maybe no chat or anything like that, no voice. Hey, so that's the list that we came up with. If you think that we missed anything, leave a comment down below, hit that like button, subscribe for new content every week, and we'll see you next week.